And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and always providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, legal talk, so much more. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Our number one goals are to educate, entertain, enlighten, but most importantly, we want to engage with you so we can help you win.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you're going to need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline. Call or text that phone number with any questions, comments you may have. Also, check out our website, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available for you on our website at consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors there and all their contact information. Intelligent Talk Radio. I've got some intelligent folks here in studio with me today. Back in studio, attorney Jason Kobal, Kobal Law. Welcome back, sir.
Oh, thank you, Brandon. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. What are we going to talk about today, Jay?
Just about car accidents, some basic info about car accidents. I always try to bring some good, positive tidbits of information to the show.
Yeah, man.
Then we have just consumer debt, a couple of things about that, and just general information about hiring a lawyer.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right. So consumer advocate tips coming up from Jason Kobal here on the show. And also Jonathan Simpkins making his debut on the show. Insect IQ. Welcome in, sir.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for having me.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for coming in and filling in for Connor Keller. What's Connor up to? He's out in the field today?
Yeah, a lot of calls came in from Orlando, so we had to ship him over there.
Nice. Getting it done. Okay. So Insect IQ. So you're an entomologist. What is an entomologist?
I studied insects at University of Florida.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Good stuff. So we're going to talk about relocation of honeybees today?
Yeah, bee rescue, honeybee rescue, saving bees for pollination.
Nice. It's an important part of our food supply chain, isn't it?
It's very important.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, good stuff. So we're going to talk about that and more from our expert contributors coming up. This segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving. The official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is Brothers Easy Moving. And I can tell you from first-hand experience, they have a first-class operation. They do a great job. They showed up 6 young men, 2 trucks. They wrapped all the furniture. They were constantly asking my wife and I, where would you like these boxes? Where would you like this place? They were very courteous, very just an awesome company. Brothers Easy Moving. They do a great job. They're also among the best reviewed movers in all of Tampa Bay. Where Google, they hold a 4.6 rating, one of the highest in the Tampa Bay area. A rating for the Better Business Bureau and Angie's List, and also a 4.5 on Yelp. And they've also won the Super Service Award multiple times. Check out Brothers Easy Moving. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brothers Easy Moving. They do a great job with either a local move or a long distance move. And as you know, I'm the owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We're helping our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties. Got a hot property listing in Tarpon Springs. This one's 1701 Mariner Way. Great opportunity for a family. Maybe an investor wants to buy it and rent it out. But this is a completely renovated property. Gorgeous corner lot, 4.49 acre, almost a half an acre of land here in beautiful Tarpon Springs. 1790 Bayshore Drive in Dunedin. This is a great opportunity. One of the most affordable homes in all of Dunedin on Bayshore Boulevard. One of the best areas to live in the country. 1790 Bayshore Boulevard, Dunedin. Large backyard, fresh paint, and terrazzo floors throughout. Beautiful property here. Compliments of Platinum MVP Team.com. All right, let's jump right into it. We got attorney Jason Kobal in the house. I love when you bring in the knowledge that you have. Talk a little bit about what you're seeing out there.
Sure. I recently came across a client that as soon as the situation popped up, I'm like, I'm going to tell Brandon about that on the next show because it happens a lot. If you get in a car accident, you always, no matter what, you want to report it to your insurance company. A lot of people think, oh, well, this accident, I was rear-ended, it's the other person's fault. I want to sue them. Florida is a no-fault state,
okay.
So regardless of who's at fault, the first $10,000 comes out of your insurance. So you might say, well, I don't want to use my insurance at all. That's not an option. if you were to just go after the other insurance company and you had valid PIP insurance, they're going to find out, and that might preclude you from getting a settlement. They the other side doesn't pay you lost wages up front like PIP does, up to $10,000. So it's in your best interest to report it. And the number one reason I hear people say why they don't want to do that is they're worried about their rates going up. If the accident is not your fault, by law, the insurance company can't raise your premiums. So they don't have to worry about that at all. The only time your rates will go up is if the accident's your fault. So really, there's never, and if it's your fault, the other side's going to be suing you anyway. You're going to want representation. So that's another reason you want to report it. So no matter what, you want to, if you get in a car accident, you got to call your insurance company.
Yeah, you got to report them, and a lot of times when you pull over, you get on the. I had an accident a while back, and I've been on the show, I've interviewed, we talked about it. I was still shaken up. I was like, wow, what do I do? First thing I did, I called my attorney.
Yeah, that's smart.
You got to make sure you're doing things properly. And, another thing is I didn't engage the other person. I didn't want her to practice her story because I knew she was at fault.
Right.
So I just stepped back, let her say whatever she wanted. I didn't ask any questions or say anything. I waited till the sheriff's department got there.
That's exactly what you should do. Always, no matter what, dial 911, even if you're not hurt, because you want an accident report. You don't want to just drive off and go your own way.
Right.
So that was handled perfectly by you.
Yeah, thank you. And then then the person's going to have that dialogue with the sheriff's department, and in this particular case, she ended up kind of putting her own foot in her mouth and some of the story that she said. But yeah, so most people, they don't understand what to do when it comes to that. So you got to listen to your lawyer, report the accidents, and make sure you get with an attorney that goes to court.
Yeah, no, that's definitely another point I want to talk about, especially in this field of personal injury, because some of the cases, they're big. There's no doubt about it. And all these attorneys want them. There's a lot of competition because, every now and then you'll get a case where the injuries are so severe. And it really doesn't have anything to do with the skill or work of the attorney. It's just the damages are so high, you make a phone call or send a letter, and you're getting a huge fee.
Right.
So everybody wants a piece of that.
Wow.
So you get a lot of attorneys out there that are kind of fraudulent, and they've never gone to court. They don't really handle those. They're just looking for a quick settlement. So whenever you hire an attorney, and the Florida Bar Rules said that this is mandatory, they have to show you. Tell them you want to see their background. You want to see how often they go to court. If they're not going to trial at least a couple times a year, then that's a little bit of a red flag.
Wow. So you actually ask for, what's the term? You say your background?
No, just say, look, I would like to know your trial experience.
Trial experience.
Yep. And if you see, my first attorney that I worked for, he was 20 years in personal injury and never went to trial.
Wow.
So these insurance companies, they keep track of that kind of thing.
Wow.
So, and it affects the settlement value they'll offer.
Because they know that if they look at that and they say, this person's actually bluffing, he's not going to go to court.
Exact common sense.
Right.
And, I'll admit, on the attorney side, going to trial is stressful. It is legalized gambling. You have to put thousands of dollars down. If you lose, you're not getting that back.
Right.
And if you win, you win big. So it's really, to me, it's like legalized gambling, and that's not for everybody.
Right.
But sometimes you have no choice.
And also, is it a case where certain types of suits that if you do go to court and you lose, you're responsible for the other side's fees?
Yeah.
Where does that come into play?
Most lawsuits are like that. There's only a few exceptions, one of which actually is the fair debt law, because they wanted to be as lenient to consumers as possible, and they didn't want them to be afraid to bring suit against these giant, collection companies, these giant companies.
Right.
So that doesn't have an attorney fee shifting provision like that, where if you lose as a consumer, unless it's completely frivolous, you don't have to pay the other side's attorney's fees and costs.
Wow.
But almost in every other law you do.
In every other case, you're going to have to pay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
that's
it's
a risk.
It's a risk, but sometimes, you know what? If you never take that risk, they're going to find out about it, and they're going to use that to their advantage.
That's
so
right.
Sometimes you got it.
We're talking with attorney Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. He's the owner of Kobal Law, another local business here in Tampa Bay. We always talk about supporting our local economies here. ConsumerQB.com is a plethora of resources available. ConsumerQB.com. So what else are you seeing out there? You helping people with consumer debt too, Jason?
Yeah, I don't know if it's from the hackers or what. There's a lot of identity theft. No matter who you are, if you haven't checked your credit in the past 6 months, you should pull it. You could pull it for free once a year at annualcreditreport.com. You get all three, the major credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And you can get all three once a year for free. And then even if you've already gotten it this year, it's relative. It's like $7 if you want to get it a second time.
Right.
But pull your credit. If you see something on there that you don't know what it is, or you don't think it belongs there, then give me a call. That's something I can take care of very easily. And a lot of people don't realize that they can do a dispute themselves. And it's a simple letter, and within 30 days, the credit bureau and the company that put it on there, they have to do an investigation and show it to you.
Wow.
And if they don't show it to you within 30 days, it gets taken off.
They take it off.
Anybody can do that. You don't even need a lawyer to do that.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's taking control of your future right there. That's taking, empowering. When somebody actually does that, they take control of it. They send a letter into the bureau and say, hey, this is not my account, remove it. And then also, when we come back, I want to talk about some of these debt collectors when they're making calls.
Oh, I'd love to.
Let's talk about that, because a lot of them get annoying. They're multiple times a day. They might even have the wrong account. I want to talk about that with attorney Jason Kobal when we come back. And also Jonathan in the house from Insect IQ. We're going to talk about honeybee removal, relocation services that they offer as well right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Don't go anywhere. We're taking a quick, short timeout.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife and I run that business, and we've got a great team. We've got agents that are joining our team every day. We're setting records. We're real excited about a lot of growth in the economy here locally in Tampa Bay. Hot market, hot real estate market. Great time to get in, especially if you're buying, selling, or investing in real estate. We would love to work with you, and we've got the best tools with the company Keller Williams Realty, the number one real estate company in the world, led by Gary Keller, who's an awesome visionary in that space. So we want to help you win in any marketplace. ConsumerQB.com is your best resource to get a hold of us. Of course, you can contact us on our hotline as well, 813-670-7372. And this segment is brought to you by the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. It's the Bilmar Beach Resort over on Treasure Island, and it's filled with fantastic and generous amenities to make your vacation that much more special. And the Bilmar Beach Resort has 2 pools on site. It's got the Sloppy Joe's restaurant as well, bar, Long Beach. You got a 2-beer beach is what Clyde Smith calls it, a 2-beer beach over there. And give them a call. Let them know that the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we are back here in studio. We got attorney Jason Kobal in the house. We've got Jonathan Simpkins in the house as well. Insect IQ. He's an entomologist as well. The study of insects. So coming up, we're going to talk about that. We have our feel-good story coming up later in the show as well. High school students shovel woman's driveway at 4:30 a.m. so she can make it to dialysis treatment. So some good stuff happening out there. Before we jump back into this, I want to let you know about a couple of hot listings. 207 Coronado Drive on Clearwater Beach. This is a $3.5 million property listing of mine. Beautiful property. And when you look at the aerial photography by Fabre Frameworks, you look at the beautiful scenery. Right across the street is the Wyndham Grand. You've got the Hyatt across the street. $3.5 million asset opportunity for a business owner, developer, builder, anyone that's in that space. You got Pier 60 right across the street. Clearwater Beach, one of the hottest beaches in the United States. Voted again number 1 beach in the United States and the hottest beaches in the world. Beautiful hot property listings, compliments of Platinum MVP Team.com. And we also have 7911 Jackson Springs Road in Tampa. This one's a Tampa property, town and country area. Just a gorgeous opportunity for a buyer to purchase 7911 Jackson Springs Road. Large backyard. And it's partially updated. The bathrooms has been updated. The kitchen has not. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Somewhere sunny and 75. All right, let's jump into it. So we got Jonathan Simpkins in the house, and he's an entomologist with Insect IQ, study of insects, and we're talking about relocation of honeybees. So I think that's one of the things we see sometimes in social media and even the mainstream media is that, you know, they talk about these different issues with insects, and the honeybee is an important part of our food development, the whole system of our food chain. Is that right?
Yeah, honeybees are very important. They pollinate a lot of crops for us and allow us to have wonderful things like cucumbers, tomatoes, citrus. I mean, they're extremely important to us.
Yeah, almost any vegetable, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're doing an important part of it. So if you see them in your home, sometimes people just kill them. That's not the right thing to do. We want to try to relocate them if we can.
Right. We offer the service of relocation, and what we're seeing now are swarms, and what that is where a honeybee colony reaches its maximum size and they virtually split. Wow. And a new queen is made. She'll fly off, and basically they'll fly a mile or two, and then they'll stop. Wow. And then that's what you'll see, that ball of bees hanging from the tree in your front yard or your backyard. And basically what's happening there is the queen, who's always in the colony, she never flies, so her flight muscles aren't very strong as her daughters. So they're feeding her, getting her fueled up to go again. While they're doing this, the daughters are trying to find a void area, a soffit, a mailbox, a tree, an old beehive to move in. So when they're in the swarm state, they're not aggressive. There's no honey, there's no babies to defend, so they're super docile. So it's a great opportunity to capture that swarm and relocate it to our rescue apiary.
Wow, that's interesting. So when you study these, how do they know all of that? Do they have cameras in there? I mean, how are they accumulating that data? It's interesting.
Basically genetics. They're programmed.
Okay.
They're programmed to do this.
Wow. Yeah, interesting. So the relocation, we've talked about this before with Connor Keller on the show, and I love that you utilize that Keystone Farmers Market. It's such a great little place out there.
Yeah, the Keystone Farmers Market, we partnered up with them last year. They allowed us to put the apiary in the back, which benefits them because they grow vegetables there. They actually sell what they grow, so it helps them in their pollination.
Would a vegetable grow faster if there's more bees around?
It's not the growth. It's when the flower, when you get the flower and the bees pollinate, which that will make the fruit.
Okay, interesting. Okay, good stuff. So so you talked about that. You talk about how these hives are splitting. What's the important thing for consumers to know about this?
Well, basically, when you see a big ball of bees in your yard or hanging on your soffit, leave it alone. Mm-hmm. A couple things are going to happen. One, within the first 24 hours, that colony could pack up and leave because they're looking for a home. If they're under some protection, under some leaves or under a soffit or under your mailbox, they might stay there. And then that's where we come in and we actually take that entire swarm and we'll place it down into a beehive and then transport it to our rescue apiary.
Wow, interesting. And when you remove those, how do you do that? How do you physically do that?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Well, there's several different techniques that we use. If they're hanging on a tree branch, those are really easy. We'll take that tree branch and actually shake it really hard, and that whole mass of bees will fall down into the beehive.
Wow.
And then we'll take it and then we'll put a top on the beehive and transport it. If you can't shake it, if they're under a soffit or a mailbox, then we actually have specialized bee vacuums that have a very low suction that'll bring these bees into a storage container. And then we can relocate those to the apiary yard.
Yeah, that's such an important process because when we kill these, if we kill these bees, then it's just at some point it's going to hurt. Now, flipping the side, thinking about the growing population of America and the world itself. What do you see happening there with bees in relation to the food supply, and could that be a potential for major conflicts?
I really don't think so. There's so much land that the government and the farmers have put aside just for growth.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to be a big problem. I think what the major problem is that the expansion of all these neighborhoods, and we're going into these wild feral colonies that have lived for years and years and years.
Right.
And they're starting to become part of the community of bees. So we're seeing a lot of colonies getting into structures and areas of structures that the homeowner doesn't go to. For example, the air conditioner side of your house.
Right.
On that side, you usually don't go there a lot.
Right.
So a lot of times we'll see where bees get into the different areas there and establish within the walls or the soffit over a year or a 2-year period.
Yeah, that's a great point. The urban sprawl, the development of humans into these, we're invading their habitat. When you look at the rate that's happening, it's almost like the county, the municipalities, the governing boards, they need to be involved with some type of a decision to, maybe set up for every square mile of development. Maybe they set up some type of a place where the animals and the hives at least could live and stay.
Yeah, the good thing about being in Florida is that we have over 3,000 beekeepers in Florida. We pollinate most of the United States. So Florida has a fantastic bee program. It's heavily regulated. So, for example, when I take those bees from a resident's house, when I transport that, I have to find the queen. I have to destroy her and introduce a certified queen.
Wow.
Once that's introduced and I have everything set up, then the state's going to come in and inspect that colony. So there's a lot of regulations with bees. You just can't go out and pull bees out of a wall and bring them to your house.
A certified queen?
Certified queen.
Interesting. Okay. What is that?
Well, basically, when queens mate, they can mate up to with 80 different drones. So we don't know if they're hanging out with the good bees or the bad bees when they mate.
Oh,
so
wow.
these certified queens are from apiaries in the middle of the state that there's only European bees around there. So they're only going to be mating with the good bees.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Pretty cool stuff, man. There's a lot of information here. We're talking with Jonathan Simpkin, Insect IQ. InsectIQ.com is the website, I believe. Correct, yes. InsectIQ.com. He's an entomologist here, and he works with Connor Keller, who you've heard on the show in previous shows. And I had service over at my property yesterday, and very, very nice, well-spoken young man came in. He performed his task. He told me, we signed up for the bundle service. Connor talks a lot about getting bundled up, and putting all those services to work for you. So, I guess we're expecting now a monthly visit. He said every time he comes, he has one of those one of those little things that can reach up and kind of knock off the spider webs, and that's all included with the service. And it's a pretty cool opportunity for homeowners to make sure they're protected.
Yeah, the bundle services include your pest control. Also, we offer the Centricon termite elimination system. We also offer the mosquito control. As you mentioned, you had mosquitoes at your house.
Yep.
So we bundle all these together to give a better value to the customer.
Yeah, and it's important, especially because we're on the lake. So there's, he said from the wind coming off the lake, it's pushing a lot of those towards us, depending on which way the wind's blowing that day.
Right, and you also have to realize we're going into spring, and everything's really starting to bloom, and that excites all animals.
Ah, okay. So it is seasonal. Yeah, a lot of it's seasonal. So, Jonathan, you mentioned you went to UF?
I did.
Your
I went to University of
from...
Florida. I studied entomology at University of Florida. I've got a second generation there right now. My son is actually studying with the same entomologist I studied with 26 years ago.
Wow.
He'll be back
cool.
with the company at the end of this year, so we're super excited.
Nice, yeah. That's very cool, man. Yeah, you guys do a great job. I know Connor's come on the show and talked about all types of, rodents and, all types of different removals. Now, did you get involved with that kind of stuff too, or are you focused just on the honeybee side?
Well, actually, I focused mostly on the business side.
Oh, okay.
But all of the services I created over the last 24 years.
Wow.
So these are all my services, and Connor came along with us about 8 years ago, and I gave him the opportunity to run with what I've developed, and he's been doing a fantastic job.
Wow, awesome. All right, stay with us right here, Consumer Quarterback Show. More from our expert contributors when we come back. Make sure you follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter. Consumer Quarterback Show page is out there as well on Facebook. We'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, published author and professional speaker. Check out our book on Amazon. Become the MVP in your industry by surfing the radio waves. That's the prequel to the business we launched with Ken Shamrock, the UFC legend, Ultimate Fighting Champion, and WWF legend as well. Ken Shamrock, the Business Growth Celebrity Academy, BGCA.co. Realize the celebrity in you. Business Growth Celebrity Academy helps you become a micro celebrity to grow wealth, build personal brand, and increase your status. Anyone can become a micro celebrity. It's easy. We teach you how through online webinars as well. BGCA.co. All right, this segment is brought to you by Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. Say hello to Steve and Lisa Gunnan over at Replenish IV Solutions. They've got a new Carrollwood office. They have a South Tampa office as well on Gandy, and they have vitamins, minerals, electrolytes. These are these bags that you get hooked up to you, kind of like you get if you go to the hospital, whatnot. You get a they got anti-aging, health and wellness, performance, ozone therapy, weight loss, amino acids, all kinds of cool stuff. So they hook it up right into your bloodstream. The vitamins are delivered directly into your bloodstream, so it's not like chewing on a vitamin or swallowing pills. It's going to go directly into your bloodstream. Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. And Steve and Lisa Gunnan, longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we are back here in studio. Attorney Jason Kobal in the house, Kobal Law. We've got Jonathan Simpkins as well in studio, InsectIQ.com. I want to let you know about a couple of hot listings. I've got some vacant land available here, 9th Avenue in Safety Harbor. It's kind of close to Elm Street in Safety Harbor there, and it's not a nightmare on Elm Street, but it's 9th Avenue, Safety Harbor. Great opportunity to build, just a beautiful opportunity to build your dream home here in charming Safety Harbor, just a short drive from shopping, restaurants, and banking, and a great opportunity at 9th Avenue, Safety Harbor. We got a lot of vacant land available as well. This one is a commercial gas station, 7424 4th Street North in St. Petersburg, and this owner is super motivated. He wants to make a deal on it. 7424 4th Street North, St. Petersburg, and it's a gas station. You've got 3 bays there for different types of light mechanical work. Corner lot, just located close to downtown. Great opportunity to buy, invest in real estate here in beautiful Tampa Bay. All right, so we got attorney Jason Kobal here in studio. Jason, we wanted to talk about some of these debt calls. You know, you get debt collectors calling you, and it's just annoying for some people. They're dealing with that every day. You can't just do this to them.
Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia.
You can't say that. You have to take the call. What do you do when you get those calls coming in, Jay?
Well, first of all, the law on those are very tough. It's the Telephone Collections Practices Act. And first of all, if you get a call on your cell phone from somebody that you didn't give express written consent to, and it's a telemarketer, that's a violation of your rights. If it's you need express written consent for a telemarketer, but if it's not a telemarketer, but it's someone else that you don't know, and you didn't give them any type of consent to call you, and they call you your cell phone, as long as it's from an auto dialer, like a machine, which most of them are, that's a violation. And what you get is that these are settlements they get up there, because you get $500 per call if it's unintentional, and then you could get up to $1,500 per call if your attorney could prove that it's intentional.
Wow.
So I think Bank of America just settled one for $34 million.
Wow.
Because they were calling people without their consent, and from a auto dialer, and there was just that many calls in a class action. So $34 million, they get up there.
Wow, that's crazy. $34 million. So they're probably pitching some type of a refinance program or banking.
They got clips, so they have to be careful. And as a consumer, also the way technology has changed, it's not just telephone calls. If you get a text, and you didn't give them consent, give me a call. That could be a violation. And as far as revoking consent, the law says it could be done by any reasonable means necessary. So it doesn't have to be fancy. If you want to revoke consent over the phone, you could just tell them. So a lot of ways to protect yourself as a consumer from those debt collectors, and then they're nasty too.
Now, what about these robo-dials? I get them all the time. You know, it's kind of stupid. Some of them, the first thing they say is, do not hang up the phone.
Right.
And then they go into their pitch. It's like
and
ridiculous.
I get them too. And, I've had a couple where we were able, all the elements are there, and then we go to track the company, and they're not collectible.
That's what I would think would happen almost all the time.
I'd say a high percent. The ones that are very obvious, that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're getting away with it. I even saw that there was, on a federal website, there was like a reward if you could figure out they had a list of companies who were doing that.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's pretty nasty that they're doing that. But
Yeah. Man.
But the best thing you could do if you're getting calls like that, figure out as much information as you can on who the caller is. If you have caller ID, the number, any information they gave you, and then contact an attorney, preferably my office.
Yep.
And we'll take a look at it for you.
Yeah, that's it. That's important. Koballaw.com.
Koballaw.net.
.net. Koballaw.net. For listeners out there, we're talking with attorney Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So you're doing a lot of different types. Would you consider yourself a generalist, or are you focused on two or three different categories?
It's funny. I started out in just workers' comp. So I've been doing that for 18 years now. And then over the years, my clients kept getting billed for their medical services. And I'm like, what the heck? It's never supposed to happen. There's laws saying that you should never bill the injured worker. And I learned the hard way. I brought a couple of those to comp court, and they said, you don't have standing in comp court because your client doesn't owe the money. The insurance company does, the workers' comp insurance company. So I was able to figure out the fair debt law that says that you cannot knowingly bill someone that doesn't owe that money.
Wow.
And so that is how I morphed into fair debt, and I've loved that. That's been a great transition. So basically, I just do injury law and then fair debt.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. That's awesome, man, because there's a lot of different areas when you look at law,
right?
Social Security, disability, it's like, but you have a network where you can refer people if they happen to call in.
If I have a case that's outside of, like, for example, medical malpractice, I don't do. If I get a call for med mal, I have a bunch of attorneys that I use for that. Any kind of field that's outside employment law, I have the best firm in town for that. So if you have any legal trouble whatsoever, I have a good attorney. A good network of attorneys that I deal with, and what I handle myself is strictly the injury law, personal injury, workers' comp, and then the fair debt.
Yeah, and that's enough to keep you busy.
Yeah, you can't do too many because you got to stay on top. The laws all change constantly.
Right.
So if there's an attorney that says they do everything, they're too generalized. That's a red flag.
Right.
Yep.
Now, how often do the laws change? Is it once every? Does Congress have to have a session to legislate and then change? Or?
No, because there's two types of ways laws change.
Okay.
There is that way, of course, and that happens often. Every 2 to 4 years, you might see a change. But then there's case law precedents.
Right.
And laws are changing constantly. Decisions come out, and then next thing you know, you have to shift gears, and you have to stay on top of that.
Right.
In every field that you do, or else you could commit malpractice.
Right.
So that's what makes it tough for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you've gone to court. You actually go to court and take litigate cases.
Yeah. Like I said, you have to.
Yep.
And it's a gamble, but you got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the law changes, I just read the other day for workers' comp. I told you about the first responder law that recently came.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. And through case law, the claimants' lawyers, myself on my side, our attorney's fees just got better from a case called Miles a couple years ago, where we were getting paid extremely low fees, and then this came out and kind of made it reasonable again. And now I read that they're looking at capping us again. It's going to go back down. So that's in the near future, I guess. So yeah, the laws are constantly changing.
And why is it? And you mentioned, by the way, we're talking with attorney Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Why does it seem to be such a gamble when you go to court?
Well, because, when you settle a case, at least, both sides, they usually end up unhappy if you get a good deal,
Right.
But at the end of the day, both sides know what they're getting. When you go to court, you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And again, going back to what I said as far as the fee shifting, you got to look at every statute's different. For example, personal injury, you could go to trial. It's going to cost a lot of money. Your attorney might charge you for costs if you lose, but the other side, you don't have to pay the other side's costs. Workers' comp, if you lose, you do have to pay the other side's costs.
Oh, wow.
You don't have to pay their fees, but you have to pay their costs. And then in the fair debt, like I said, you don't have to at all. So you got to look at the statute and see what the risks are. And your attorney should sit you down, explain what the pros and cons are of going to trial. But yeah, almost always, if you lose, it stings.
Yeah, because you got to look at the cost. So the actual cost would be the filing fees, court costs.
Yeah.
But maybe not their actual attorney's fees.
Correct.
Okay.
Depends on the law.
So okay, depending on the type of case and the actual courtroom that you're in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the costs get up there. I mean, for a personal injury case, if you're talking about, you need a surgeon to come testify, that's not cheap.
Right.
Med mal, I don't do those, but I've been told you got to put $75,000 of costs into a case. So
Wow.
that's a lot riding.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Attorney Jason Kobal here, koballaw.net, helping you out with workers' comp, personal injury law, consumer debt type law, right here. Longtime friend of the program, highly recommended. Attorney Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And when we come back, more from Jonathan Simpkins here. We're going to talk about Insect IQ. He's an entomologist with Insect IQ. And we also have our feel-good story of the day. High school students shovel woman's driveway at 4:30 a.m. so she can make it to dialysis treatment. Right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
What? This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. That's the goal of our show. We want to be your consumer advocate, help make you just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we've got a couple of hot listings I want to let you know about here. 5506 Dallas Way in Valrico. This is River Hills Country Club. $540,000, corner lot, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, one owner home that's sure to impress. And the owner, by the way, he's a commercial contractor, and he built his own home. So he has taken, the best steps to make this the best home. 3,500 square feet, $540,000. Hot real estate listing over in Valrico, Florida. Great opportunity to purchase real estate here in the Tampa Bay market. Also, 103 South Havana Avenue, just reduced down to $475,000. Owner is super motivated on this. He is utilizing it as an Airbnb and is constantly getting bookings as well. And it's in a great area, great location, South Tampa. 103 South Havana Avenue, $475,000. Charming South Tampa historic home. 5 bedrooms, 3-bath, 2,500 square feet, reduced to $475,000. And every day we're going to tell you something positive here in our Feel Good segment, and we're going to tell you something good. So high school students shovel a woman's driveway at 4:30 a.m. so she can make it to dialysis treatment. So knowing an upcoming snowstorm could prevent a neighbor from getting crucial medical treatment, a group of high school students shoveled the woman's driveway at 4:30 in the morning to ensure she could leave the house. Brothers Brian and Patrick Lanigan knew that the snowstorm was coming and it could be life or death for a situation for their neighbor Natalie Blair. So Patrick opened up his phone and started reaching out to friends. 3 of his fellow high school seniors answered the call and volunteered to spend the night at Lanigan's house, and they woke up and started shoveling, he says. And there was a Twitter post here. Snow angels disguised as high school seniors. Peter Lanigan wrote on Twitter, Justin, Pat, Chris, Tyler, and Eamon got up early, super early, 4:30, never really slept, it says in quotation here, to shovel the driveway for a neighbor who needed to get dialysis. These young men restore my faith in humanity. Job well done. Thanks, guys. At Alma Gale replied to Lanigan's Twitter post, and it's made me cry. So many of these young men, they are true angels in this world. God bless them. They all made my day, Tasha Steele wrote on her wall. All right, feel good segment of the day for you, kind of pay it forward type of a promotion here on the Quarterback Show. So in studio, we got attorney Jason Kobal coming up in our lightning round. We got Jonathan Simpkins here as well. We're going to talk more about honeybee removal and what you guys are doing over at Insect IQ. So why don't you give us a little bit more of the background on the company? I think that's interesting. You said 24 years ago?
Yeah, 24 years ago I started the company.
Nice.
And we've just been growing ever since.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. How many employees you have? How many?
We have 13 employees right now.
Very cool.
We service, with our bee removal, we service the entire state of Florida.
Nice.
And our pest control service, we're centrally located here in the Tampa Bay area.
Tampa Bay area. Okay, cool, man. So that's awesome. So, it's interesting when you look at the seasonality and the termites, for example. Termites, I've seen studies or stats where it says, they cause more damage than wind, flood, fire, hail, any type of natural disaster every year. Termites do in terms of real estate damage they cause.
They do, and then with the Citricon baiting system, it's fantastic for Florida, because with all these new subdivisions popping up, I mean, usually they take out a citrus grove, so you still have all the roots under the ground. They take out forest, still have roots under the ground. And so the termites will start feeding on that first and then eventually get up in your home.
Oh, wow.
So with the Citricon baiting system, once they finish with the root system, they start coming up in the home, and then we'll get them there.
Interesting. Now, what about if you build a house on pilings? You put pilings in the ground. It's probably pressure treated, I would think. But is that a place where they're going to feed as well?
They can come up the side. Mm-hmm. So subterranean termites make mud tubes. And they use the soil and the moisture, and they'll make tubes, and they'll go right up the side of the pilings and go up into the structure.
Wow. So that's all the more reason to have these Citricon systems in place.
Yeah, that's very important. And the Citricon systems now, they have active baiting, so they're constantly active with the bait. You don't have to come out and switch out the bait every couple months once you get activity in the Citricon systems. Now they're constantly baited.
Oh, wow. That's
which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, because when you look at some of the other things I see as well, again, as a consumer advocate-based program here, we see sometimes people try to DIY, do it yourself, and there's been several studies or different stories rather that have come out where the family. I remember the one gentleman he had instead of he had a crawl space underneath his house, and he sprinkled too much of the pellets. It rained. That chemical reaction between the pellets and the rain caused fumes to go up through the house, and it killed the whole family.
Yeah, that's a great point, Brandon. Some of the things a homeowner can take care of. Let's say you have some ants, some sugar ants in your house. You can go to your local store and get some sugar baits. You can take care of that. But when you're dealing with things that are eating your house or stinging insects that can sting you multiple times, you need to give that to the experts, people that deal with it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I would say so. It's definitely, especially it's scary when people they don't read the labels properly. That they're possibly getting it into the waterways, and it's very sensitive when chemicals hit the water. It really can have a deadening effect on the wildlife.
Yeah, and not only the wildlife, but if you have a swarm of bees outside your house and you come home from work and you say, I'm just going to spray them, and those bees scatter and they sting your neighbor or somebody walking by, then you're liable for that.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
It's like a dog bite.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, dog bite, like a dog running loose through the neighborhood.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's always the homeowner's fault. Yep.
Yep. Very cool. Okay, so when we think about Insect IQ, what do you want our listeners to know?
I think we're a locally owned and operated company. We are getting ready to be a second-generation company, which means we're a staple in the area. We're not going anywhere. My son is studying with the same professor I studied with 26 years ago, which is exciting.
That's cool.
He'll be back here at the end of the year to work in the field for several years. He's got to get that blue-collar degree now.
Yeah, that's right.
And then once he gets that, then we might move him into GM management, and then hopefully he'll take over the company.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. That's I think that's something that a lot of families kind of want to happen. It's interesting how, and luckily, for you and your family, that he actually chose that path. He went that way.
Yeah, there's 3 other brothers behind him, so if he doesn't want it, there's 3 behind him that'll come with the company and help us run it. And you don't have to be an entomologist. You could be an accountant. You could be a salesperson. Any of my boys that want to come back?
Yeah, there you go.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. All right, so every day we're going to tell you something positive, and we're also going to jump into our lightning round right now. In our lightning round,
The lightning round.
I am so good at lightning rounds.
I majored in lightning rounds.
all right, so here we go. We're going to talk about top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Attorney Jason Kobal, KobalLaw.net.
John actually gave me this idea. We talked in the break. If you have a case with an attorney, and you settle, and you're signing a closing statement, take a good close look at it. Hate to talk bad about my fellow attorneys, but there's a lot of bad attorneys out there that charge ridiculous costs and go through it line by line. And if there's anything fishy, question them or her, because there's a lot of fraud with that. And as a quick shout out, I want to thank my firm, my wonderful staff. I found out last week I was named for every year Tampa Magazine lists the top lawyers in Tampa, in each specialty, and I was named for this year's top lawyer list. So
nice.
Thank you to my staff.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
That's awesome, bro. Yep. And so you've got a great staff helping you out as well?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Good. That's important for every business to have that office staff that help help when you're out in the field.
That's it. It's like a family, a nice close-knit group.
Yeah, that's very important. All right, Jonathan, give us some top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom for our listeners out there.
Yeah, I think when you are dealing with bees and specialty insects like that, and you have different companies come out and give you estimates, you want to compare apples to apples. You want to check make sure they have a license.
Yes.
You want to make sure they have workers' comp. Those are 2 main things when you have a contract around property. Are they a registered beekeeper? How long have they been a beekeeper? A lot of perception of beekeeper, they think that they're the holy grail.
Yep.
There's a lot to beekeeping. There's a lot to bee removal. So make sure you do your homework when you're doing specialty insects.
That's important. Absolutely. Checking out the contractors. That's a recurring theme that we hear on the show is, making sure they're licensed, bonded, insured, whatever case it applies, and checking them out online. Doing your research, your due diligence is an important part of the process, and it's on you as the homeowner to be careful with that. And great tips, nuggets of advice there. One thing I would add as well for people that are in business and in sales is I like to talk about the Pareto principle, focusing on those 20% of key tasks that you can accomplish, that you can live, achieve your goals better by focusing on those 20% of things. I think so many times we get distracted with robocalls coming in, business, all these different types of things that happen in your business. But if you focus on those 20% of key tasks, that's going to contribute to the 80% of your success. And that is evident throughout community, throughout history. It started with Pareto principle. Wilfredo Pareto, the Italian economist, in 1895, when he started, he recognized that in Italy, that 80% of the wealth was owned by only 20% of the people. And it's funny how that's happened throughout history. We see, 80-20 rule breaking down amongst a lot of different industries. You see it in society as well. You see 80% of the crime being committed by 20% of the criminals. You see 80% of the beer being drank by 20% of the people. I mean, it's interesting when you look at that, how it really breaks down amongst a lot of different places. So I want to thank attorney Jason Kobal, koballaw.net, for coming in, and he can help you with all your workers' comp, personal injury law, consumer debt type practices as well, and just general advice and referrals as well. Jonathan Simpkins, thanks so much for coming in. A lot of knowledge in the honeybee area, and awesome job you've done building the company over the past 24 years. My hat's off to you as well, and Connor Keller does a great job for you. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food or clothing, carry it with you to and from your commute, hand it to that person that you see in need. Be a force for good in the community. Pay it forward somehow. There's a lot of ways that you can do good in the community. Donate blood, donate time at a local food bank. A lot of ways you can get involved. And continue to tune into our show. We'd love to engage with you. We're actually looking for business owners that may want to join us on the air, business owners or managers. ConsumerQB.com, and follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.